Chapter 7.
Один народ,
One people, one right, one Führer.
один фюрер.
Well, about the unity of the nation. In order to demonstrate this unity, the whole of Germany on certain days was eating charity soup. It was part of the winter aid campaign. Germans were eating soup to the music of military marches. Ein Topf means one pot in German. Huge vats and helpings of meal. And coins dropped into a tin box. Just like that. Of course, the matter was neither in the coins nor in the meal. It was an act of showing loyalty to the regime. You have shared the soup with them all. Therefore you have backed up the events organized by the Nazi Party and the government. As simple as that, you just eat soup and drop a few coins. Charity soup events were common even at the Reich Chancellery. The public here was more refined, though. Even Hitler attended this eating event. Yet I doubt he ate the soup. He was a vegetarian, strange as it might seem. Nevertheless, he was not a stranger to charity. Here goes the first mark and now maybe a second. Let's wait and see. Definitely it's worth waiting. Still waiting. Well, we cannot wait any longer, but that's all right. Swaying is also a symbol of unity. It is an old German tradition, too. This swaying indeed evokes a feeling of a common action. Besides, it helped the commoners to banish disturbing thoughts which probably visited them from time to time. You swayed with a group of other people and you felt better. Swaying took place on a massive scale in those years. To demonstrate unity, the party leaders, here is Göring, frequently attended public festivities. Archery competition is an old tradition. Göring shoots. He scored a hit. It's still a question how it was in reality. He is served a traditional mug of beer. Like it or not, you have to drink it. For the sake of solidarity. Heil, Reichsmarschall Göring is drinking. He finishes the mug and wipes his mouth with the back of his hand to show his solidarity with people once more. And here is real solidarity, Göring again, but this time with Krupp von Bohlen and Halbach. This is the very same Krupp, the king of guns, the king of tanks, the king of everything that kills. In the days of the anniversary of Krupp's industrial empire, all the leaders of the Nazi Party paid a visit to Krupp. Once they promised to hold back big business. Now they are queuing up for the handshake. Gestapo chief Heinrich Himmler is also in the line. Here comes his turn. A short kiss. Another one. These celebrations. This is Hess, deputy Führer of Nazi Germany, clearly showed the real essence of the economic program of Nazism. Here is the Krupp family. Krupp Jr. will appear on the right in a moment. It is he who is the owner of the Krupp company nowadays. The speaker is Krupp Sr., the father. We wonder how he is going to end his speech. Heil Hitler. That's how he ends it. And here is another exhibition of solidarity, this time under the pretext of autobahns or highways. It would seem that construction of roads is not a big deal, but those were strategic highways. And it was the first step to war. Hitler is going to deliver a speech. He'll do it in his usual self-excited manner. He starts usually as if he is unassured and gradually works himself up to shouting. Well, that's it. By the way, he tries to convey the simplest things. We must work, we must build highways. In a word, workers, start working. Surely it can be said in a more composed way, but it appealed to the public. Achtung! A special trolley has dumped loose earth. Führer starts digging. Let's repeat the scene so you admire this man standing behind Hitler. Here we go. Like this. Like that. And like that. Göring opens the construction of the second highway. Rudolf Hess, the third. The construction of a smaller highway is opened by a Führer of a lower rank, and he does not look very enthusiastic, isn't he? Well, is it enough? Good, I can go now. This is an industrial exhibition. It clearly demonstrates in what direction Germany was developing. Submarines, tanks, planes, bombs, and Hitler above it all. Chapter 8 about myself. My mother was an ordinary woman, but she gave Germany a great son, Adolf Hitler. My uniform cap, front view, side view. I am against a mountain background. I am against a sea background. I am with a squirrel. I am with a girl. I am with lions. And here I am with my worshippers. This is my birthday cake. The bakers were patted down, just in case. Here is another present. Socks that German women knitted specially for me. Me and Siegfried, a painting by an unknown author. It's a pity, I am peeping out from under his armpit. I would prefer vice versa. I am in a good mood. I am in a bad mood. Can't remember the reason. Here I am in a good mood again. Mussolini is in the background, but you do not pay attention to him for now. An autograph. Sure, there is always a living desk at your service. I have crossed my arms on the chest. Later I found a better place for them. I have crossed my arms on the chest. Later I found a better place for them. Quite a rare footage. I am in a tailcoat while reviewing the Guards of Honor. The tailor was awarded. Well, the coat is actually well tailored. I am going to leave now. I am delivering a speech. By the way, in this speech Hitler said that he had achieved everything in his life only by diligence and industry. And he complained that he had hard times and was even starving, it seems. But he always had a great aim and had finally overcome all severe difficulties and reached his aim. No, it was not intelligentsia that gave me strength, said Hitler. And he stated that he always had support of workers and peasants. No wonder, it was the 20th century. How couldn't he but mention the workers and peasants? Even Erhard had to count on workers and peasants. Hitler delivered a great many speeches. All of them were rather banal and commonplace, but surely were delivered with great fanfare. Besides, all his table talks have been recorded, too. Really it was an inexhaustible spring of wisdom. Hitler stated that only the Germans represent a true nation of rulers who were born to dominate the entire world. But Slavs were the innate race of slaves. It was necessary to eliminate the majority of Russians. And the remaining population should not be educated. Ukrainians should be provided with beads, like all colonized nations. Arabs were lacquered monkeys, and Italians were lazy. There was only one decent person among Romanians, Antonescu. Switzerland was a pimple on the face of Europe, and if the Germans will not show strength of spirit, they must be eliminated as well. In general, Hitler announced, "I alone have the right to decide which nation will exist and which nation must be exterminated." And in this speech Hitler said, "Some people claim that the Führer is really something, but the party is something else. No, my friends," he continued, "I am the party." This statement provoked a deafening response, and Hitler had to wait for the loud applause to subside. "And as long as I am a part of the party," Hitler continued, "the party is a part of me." Just you think, the Nazi Party is a part of Adolf Hitler as a person. It is a pity he never specified what part he was talking about. He concluded his speech as thus, "And if I ever die, my spirit will live forever." Sieg Heil. Many historical figures had a habit of holding hands crossed on the chest. But Hitler finally found another place to keep them. He let them resting, to put it delicately, below his waist. And he stubbornly kept them in this position. If his right hand was busy, he held his left arm there. People started to imitate his manner. The number of imitators was growing. Chief of the Gestapo Himmler was the first to pick up this manner. Hitler used to call him, "My meek Heinrich." It was more difficult for Göring because of his belly. But Röhm and Hess also followed the example. Hess is here on the right, Röhm is on the left. Röhm was the commander of stormtroopers, and he was one of the closest associates of Hitler. But once, during one parade of stormtroopers, he made a grave mistake. Hitler invited him to join him in the car, just to be polite, but Röhm took it seriously and got in the car. Apparently, he did not read Mein Kampf thoroughly, where it was said that the party must have only one leader, not two. Besides, Röhm was not popular among the military top brass who feared stormtroopers. In the end, he was shot, and Hitler's personal photographer had to spoil several photos. Well, enough about Hitler. Hitler here, Hitler there. A few words about Mussolini. Here he is. He was Hitler's predecessor after all, and the very word, fascism, is of Italian origin. Mussolini was first to use this gesture, and Hitler simply picked it up. Mussolini was the first to work with a hack and Hitler just followed suit with a shovel. But Mussolini sometimes could handle a threshing machine, and Hitler had no occasion to repeat such a feat. As for self-promotion, you can see the word Duce written everywhere. Il Duce in Italian means the leader, the Führer. As to self-promotion, Mussolini surpassed even Hitler by far. You could not see such a wall in the Third Reich. Otherwise Mussolini's torch marches were a sorry sight. It seems as if they are going to set the whole of Rome on fire. Hitler once said that Mussolini was surely a descendant of old Caesars. Very much so. You can see his portrait rising over the crowd in the distance. Rather amusing, isn't it? And here is the Duce delivering a speech. It is quite enthralling to read his body language. Oh, look. It's curious that the right side of the frame is concealed. Look, it is blackened out. There's standing someone who irritates Mussolini very much, and the Nazi filmmakers decided to cover that part of the picture so that nobody can see who was standing there. It was probably Victor Emmanuel, the Italian king. Mussolini despised him for being short, and in general disliked him and envied him. Look. The content of the speech is irrelevant. This speech must be seen rather than listened to. Look at the Duce. A very funny phenomenon. Well, he is something. He really is something, isn't he? There. Well, but this style Mussolini had definitely borrowed from Hitler. All right, we are done with Mussolini. In the end, we'll show you some of his sculptures. Moreover, we are going to move to the topic of Nazi art. Chapter 9 Art. Once in a while we should wag a finger at actors and artists. Adolf Hitler. Do you think it is another parade? No. It is Hitler visiting an exhibition of sculpture and painting. By the way, Hitler chose the artwork for the exhibition himself. Look closely at the face of this soldier. Here is Hitler again. And again. And again. A bit of fame was left for Göring, though. What can I do? The statue seems to complain. And here is what was not exposed at the exhibition. It simply was not possible. This is the art studio of Joseph Tarak, the leading sculptor of the Third Reich. Hitler said, "When we'll be driving representatives of conquered nations through Berlin, they must be shocked and dispirited by the grandeur of our monuments." A great job, indeed. Bundles of muscle, and no thought. And horses represent the animal world. And here is a special case. It's a monument to a warrior-conqueror. Such monuments, 30 meters high, were supposed to be installed along the borders of the new Reich, in the Urals, at the White Sea, at the Black Sea, and in the Caucasus. The statue of a slave was ready too. That's what was awaiting us. This is the sculptured head of a conqueror. Do not expect any mercy from someone like that. Now let's go on to literature. Goethe and Schiller are standing between two swastikas. A book fair was held in this house in Weimar. Goebbels was among the visitors. Of course, his own books are displayed most favorably. No labor was spared, as you can see. The author is pleased. As to the other sections of the book fair, these stands are self-explanatory. Hitler is here, Hitler is there, Hitler is in Italy, Hitler in the homeland. Just like that. And here are the writers. They are decently convoyed to breakfast. The food is pretty good. As to the writers themselves, it's difficult to say. They are what they are. Later they listen to Goebbels' instructions. What to write and how to write. They take good note. And discuss their future plans. And this is the world of variety art, theater and cinematography. Common people also need to relax once in a while and enjoy some beautiful life. Nice, very nice. There's a difference between these girls and, let's say, American or French or British girls. It applies to the size of thighs. The Third Reich's girls should have round childbearing hips. This is Marika Roque, the superstar of German cinema. A little bit of sensuality. The life of common citizens of the Third Reich was not easy. They had to work hard. And there was shortage of food supplies. Goering used to say that butter was making people fat. And it had to be replaced by something else. And this seemed to be a suitable substitute for butter. And people loved it. They still do. I think they will always love it. A comic duet. The size of the thighs is standard. But this is another case. This is a lady vamp. She needs to be skinny. It's the law. Having dreamt of her, you go back to your official wife. And boring job. But the most important type of art in the Third Reich was this. The military parade. That was the genuine art. It was there where imagination and creative inspiration were giving brilliant results. By the way, this art was extremely popular. Here is a first-class solo performer. Just look at the sheer ecstasy of this virtuoso. By the way, it is von Richthofen, the commander of the Condor Legion. It was he who bombed Guernica, Madrid, and later, Stalingrad. Bravo! Encore! End of part 1. Part 2. Chapter 10. We belong to you. Let's take a short break from this bloody show and have a look at the children of the Third Ray SH. Nice little kids, little people. They play, they listen to an old street organ. And so what if the street organ plays the Offi Sial Nazi hymn? The Horst Wessel. After all, children cannot recognize it for what it is. The sun. A woman. Dad and mom. A trumpet and drums. Boys always like to draw soldiers. A bayonet, a rifle, a knife. A tank, a swastika. This is ASS Hool. The first exercise in handwriting, Heil Hitler. The education must start with this phrase. Another line. Stormtroopers are marching. We salute the standard. And here is a notable verse for the Führer's birthday. You are where German hearts beat more ardently, where German hands work harder, where German children laugh with happiness. We give you our hearts, O Führer. You are the savior of Germany. You are the hope. You are the loyalty. You are the love. You are the faith. I love you with all my heart. And I want to belong to you. I want to serve you every day and every hour. As a loyal warrior and a brave soldier. A footnote, not to read, but to learn by heart. It is time now to learn how to stand at attention, how to eye him with admiration, how to take in his every word BSOs. He is going to address the German youth in a moment. What does he want from the German youth after all? The German youth must be strong and agile, resilient as leather, fast as a hound, and sturdy as Krupp steel. That's all for now. And children are delighted. The phrase, "we belong to you," is laid out with children's bodies. They do not realize yet that it is shameful and wrong to belong to somebody, even if it is the Führer himself. They look at him with admiration now, and for many years they will hear every day, and every hour, that he is infallible, that he is always right, that he is great, he is the savior, the faith, the hope, the love, and he is very wise. Hitler used to say, a German boy must learn to endure beating and get used to violence. That's how they're getting used to violent SE. Just look at the faces chosen by the cameraman. That's how they learn to endure the beating. Robert Lay on SE said, at the age of 4, we give a child a small banner. And from then on, without realizing it, he becomes exposed to continuous indoctrination, which lasts till his death. They must turn into dough, ready to take any shape. They must turn into roe. A true SIAL moment has come. They are about to take an oath of loyalty to Adolf Hitler. Let us listen to it.
Adolf Hitler, dem obersten Befehlshaber der Wehrmacht,
Yesterday, they were still boys, they were still schoolchildren. They have learned by heart all the required axioms. They know that Hitler is infallible. They are ready to die with his name in their last breath. They are ready to kill and pillage on his behalf. Soldiers were not the only ones to take an oath, though. Nurses, office workers, funcionaries, postal and railroad workers, they were all taking an oath. Throughout Germany, people took an oath of loyalty to Adolf Hitler. Because the entire country had to be bound by mutual responsibility. Of us, members of the Nazi Party also took an oath. It was the shortest of all. Here is its text, word for word. I swear my loyalty to Adolf Hitler. To him personally and to all superiors he is going to appoint over me. I swear to obey implicitly all their orders. That's it. There is no mention of Germany, of the motherland or the people whatsoever. You have sworn to obey blindly any orders of your superiors, and now you can put your hat bar SK on. In S&SE, these people swear to become inhuman. They willingly abandon the right and the duty of any human being, the right and the duty to think, to rationalize. Chapter 11. There was a different Germany, though. Yes, there certainly was a different Germany. These people still remember the fall of the Kaiser Empire, the 1918 German Revolution, a year after the October Revolution in Russia. They remember the true SKS filled with armed workers and soldiers, the throngs of people on the streets, the rallies. Karl Liebknecht SHT, SPI SH. It is so similar to the Russian Revolution. These people so knew SH resemble the Russian people. Even the air is filled with this familiar smell of freedom. Yet they remember the outcome of the revolution, the murder of Karl Liebknecht SHT and Rosa Luxemburg, the bloody massacres. They worked. They had always been working. The German worker, a great master and a diligent laborer. Here they are, in front of our eyes. They still recall mass demonstrations by the proletariat during the 1920s. They were much younger at the time. They believed in the socialist future of Germany. They took upon the streets. And some of them probably carried similar posters announcing, Fascism is hunger and war. And saw Ernst Thälmann. Yet Low-SL residents still remember the bloody end of SU-SH demonstrations. The wounded and OSS occasionally killed were brought here. German proletariat was divided. It was easy to defeat it that way. And it was defeated. Yes, it was. But this one here Sam out a winner. No, I do not want to say that the German nation was blind. It was deceived. If you have to live under Hitler, you have to work hard. They would do any kind of work, just to make ends meet. These are ordinary workers. Probably, some of them still remember the last Rot Front demonstration. The Rot Front organization had already been banned, and it was extremely dangerous to SOM out on the streets. How many of these people have lived to the present? They have simply vanished. Vanished behind barbed wire. Yes, a different Germany did exist. Chapter 12. The masses should be treated like a woman. Adolf Hitler. One of the Nazi pre-SEPTS started with the phrase, "You are nothing." We wanted to find at least some footage of ordinary people. We were simply curious about day-to-day life of German air citizens at the time. Obviously, they did something else besides shouting, "See, Heil," yet among 2 million meters of Nazi documentary materials. We managed to find only these rare SS scenes. Really, why bother filming ordinary people? If they are nothing. True, the phrase continued. You are nothing. Your people are everything. But how can one believe that the people are everything? If an individual representative of the people is nothing, and then, the SLO-SK strikes. SS soldiers S-lad in black rush out onto the streets. Something is happening. Nurses burst out of the building. Why so many nurses? Well, the mass hysteria of excitement is coming up. The cameras are rolling. Everything is clear. There arrived the Führer. Now is the time for filming. So, you are nothing, but your people are everything. Hitler liked to call people the masses. The masses should be treated like a woman. And a woman, Hitler used to say, eagerly succumbs to power. It is worthless to count on the intel ST of the masses. It is necessary to appeal to their most basic instincts. That's what appeals to their instant STS. A planned incident. Somebody from the crowd brings over 2 babies with flowers. Very 2S hing indeed. That was a great play on feelings. Time to move on. An unplanned incident. Somebody brings over the flowers on his own initiative. Perfect. Let's go. Another unplanned incident. A petitioner. That's all right. A smile. A bodily search. Just in assay. You can go now. Let's continue playing. With the most primitive feelings of the masses. The masses are mentally lazy and conceited, Hitler had stated and even written. They do not like to read or think. They must face one enemy and know one God. Here is the God. And then they will follow you because an individual is nothing, and together they form the masses. And masses must be treated as a woman, and a woman willingly succumbs to power. Besides, Hitler said, the masses need to be kept in trepidation. A note to the future candidates for Führers, with all propaganda means available today. It is an affordable and practical way to be raised to the heavens while still alive. Chapter 13. The Führer issued an order. We carry it out. For the sake of the German people, we must seek wars every 15-20 years. Adolf Hitler. The moment had come when Nazism set about accomplishing its most important and, possibly, the ultimate task. It all started in Spain. Führer commands, we follow. This is Poland. Führer commands. We follow. Because we have taken an oath and we are not allowed to think. Warsaw is burning. In the 19th century, the great Rodin created this famous statue, the Thinker. And 10,000 years ago, an unknown sculptor carved this thinker that looks into the future, trying to foresee the things to come. This Rosk painting is about 20,000 years old. Man still dwelled in caves, wore animal skins, worked with a stone axe. But he was already a great artist and a creator. He appreciated the beauty of lines, the perfection of form and the expressiveness of movements. The paintings on the walls of this avenue did not fade away in 20,000 years, although the animals that inhabited Earth at that time had vanished. Stone Age man was even familiar with abstract art. Let us return to the 20th century. Is this really an image of modern times? Is this going to remain as a monument to our epoch? To a pilot, though, the ruins down there appear quiet, peaceful and even beautiful. And people down below look like ants or cockroaches. To kill them doesn't take too much courage. Yesterday, these people still lived peaceful lives in their countries, worked, fell in love, and had dreams. Now, they're behind barbed wire. They do not understand where they're being taken, and what awaits them in the future. We shall know yet what will befall these people. Meanwhile, the war was portrayed as a joyride. These merry guys Mars head across Europe. They walked, grinning, along the roads of Belgium, Holland and Denmark. They stomped on the cobblestone pavements of Paris boulevards, marched across the Balkans, and ascended the steps of the Aegean Acropolis like tourists. The morning of June 22, 1941. On this quiet morning, the Berliners heard the news of the attack on the Soviet Union. That morning did not seem to be different from any other morning. Everything looked ordinary and peaceful. Nobody could imagine that during those morning hours, the fate of the Third Reich had been sealed. And certainly nobody knew that the war had started several hours ago. Without an official declaration, and that for several hours, the bombs had been raining on the Soviet soil. These are Moose S-ovites, our S-contemporaries. They sit and think their own thoughts. They did the same on that day. In June 1941. Everything seemed quite ordinary. It felt good. And peaceful. Instead, that morning left a scar, an open wound. In the lives of each of us. Some people lost their sons, brothers, fathers or mothers. Others lost entire families or their houses were destroyed. Their lives were broken. Yet for now, they are S-ought in the present moment. They are concerned only about the immediate reality. What's going on this very minute? They think. They fall in love. They talk. They live. And that is what really matters. Who are these two? Or those? Are they students? Future scientists, S-chemists? Or rocket builders? What are they discussing? What are these two thinking about? Why is he so frustrated? Or this girl? Is she explaining her S-complex scientific problem? Or giving dire S-tians to a country house in the outskirts of the city? Or these two? Maybe they are research S-hers at an institute. And they're discussing an important issue. But the little girl simply feels like dancing. Or maybe these two are ordinary housewives and they are gossiping about the nasty neighbor. But the little girl simply feels like dancing and she can't wait for them to stop talking. Yet her grandmother doesn't even notice that the girl walked away. Or those three. Whatever is transpiring between them at this moment is very important. They would want so much to have beautiful lives and keep their friendship forever. And I wish they had beautiful lives and remained friends forever. I wish they did not have to face the nightmare that befell on us in June 1941. When the day turned into the night.